you're gonna use an end like this.
Like this?
Yeah, because
Okay.
you know, their brakes, it's a completely different
Right,
design.
so use the other one.
Yeah.
That's the
But
universal.
on your universal cable, it has both ends, so you just clip off the end that you don't
Okay.
use and you throw it away.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
And so the next thing is what I always do is
Ah.
just take a little dab of grease. And this is, you can get away without doing this, but it's always a good idea. Just put some grease on the section of the cable that goes through the housing. That just helps it work a little bit more smoothly, like that. And then, so we're going to reuse this because this is not really in bad condition.
What part is that?
This is the housing.
Do you need the housing, or can you just use the regular cable?
No, it must be used with this.
Okay.
It will not work without it. So you just feed the cable right back through here,
Okay.
like that.
Mm.
And pull it all the way through and get it seated. Make sure it's seated into the lever, into the adjuster like that.
Oh, okay. That part.
And then this is going to be seated. See,
Oh,
the frame
right.
has a slot in it right
Yeah.
here. Just go through this, and it has to be seated in there like that. See?
Okay.
And so when the brake's operating, it's going to pull on the cable like that. See, it needs a housing to guide guide it, and it also this resists the pulling force that the cable is exerting.
Okay.
So now a little bit more of the grease, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And right where it would exit the frame, just put a little bit more on.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need much.
Does it make a difference if you go to the left or to the right of the frame? Or does it make
Well, the frame only has these guides on this one in this one
Oh, I see,
location.
it comes down.
It doesn't have them
Okay, on the
anywhere
side.
else. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we'll feed this one here through. Like so. And always make sure it's seated in the frame.
Okay.
If it's not seated there like that, the brake isn't going to work. It's not going to function.
Ah.
Okay. Okay, now we need this part and the little liner. Normally this liner fits like this, and then it goes through this metal tube like that. And that's a pretty little important part to have as well.
Sure, make it look easy.
So now we're going to feed the cable right through the large end.
Mm-hmm.
And you always want to twist these when you feed them through because the cable can otherwise become unraveled.
Okay.
It's the cable, if you look at it, it's wound like a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to work against the spiral.
Okay.
Okay, see?
Well done.
Now pull this all the way through, and this needs to be seated like that.
Okay.
Now this part is going to anchor into this clip like so.
Pulling.
I need a pair of pliers.
Rebel there, you want me to get it for you?
If you look in that orange tray somewhere, there should be a pair of long nose pliers.
These?
Yes. Yes. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to disconnect this from it. This has been kind of bent and deformed a little bit. This should be, straight and flush. So I'm just going to grab it with the pliers and kind of bend it back.
It's the little things you take for granted.
I think that's good, see?
Mm-hmm.
Might even close this gap up a little bit. Just slightly. You want to leave enough of a gap for the cable to go through,
Okay.
but if the gap is too big, then this could come undone.
Very nice. You got a nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Snug
See,
fit.
because there's when the brake is applied, there's a certain amount of pressure or force that's applied here, and if this was to pop through, then you would have a loss of braking. You don't want that to happen. Okay, then the last part is this is just basically a little sleeve or a boot, as it's sometimes called, to keep. It just helps keep dirt and grime from. If you get dirt and grime in here,
Yeah.
it can affect the operation of the cable. So that kind of just keeps that out. And then this, there is a small hole
Most of them have holes off.
right there. There's a hole. See that?
Yeah. All of them come with a
Feed-
hole?
Yes. You feed the cable wire through the hole.
Okay.
This is called an anchor bolt. So now I need this wrench. Now before we proceed,
Yeah, this is a tricky part.
can you hand me the wire? Yeah, that. This is what we need. Before we even adjust anything, you always want to make sure the brake pad is aligned with the rim. Sometimes you'll get it where this makes contact with the tire.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very bad condition. You don't want
Okay.
that. Or sometimes it's too low where it could actually go beyond the rim and into the spokes.
I see.
Or sometimes they're not aligned properly. This side looks good, and this side can actually come up a little bit. It's not bad,
Okay.
but it can be aligned better, so that's where this tool comes in. Just loosen that, hold the arm up against the rim. See, and you can move it, you know, adjust it this way and then rotate it. You just want to make sure it's aligned with the surface of the rim, and then hold it there and just tighten it. That's good. See?
It's a good tip.
Okay, so now just kind of hold that so. Pull the cable. They make a tool for what I'm doing here actually, but I
Okay.
don't actually have one. And then just tighten the anchor bolt down.
So you bring this in all the way to the end of there?
Well, we're gonna test it to see
Okay.
how well it works. But this needs to be secure because if it's not, when you apply a lot of braking force, the cable will slip
Okay.
and lose its adjustment. So now we can just make sure you need the wheel to be able to rotate freely. But what's going on here
What's going on here?
is, if you notice, his rim
It's
is
bent?
it's not bent, but it's what we call out of true, which means it's not rotating straight enough.
Okay.
So
So what's the fix?
fix that as well. Spoke wrench.
And that is called a...
This is a spoke wrench. So
Okay.
okay, what we're gonna do is tip the bike up. Yeah, if you can hold it like that. Quick little adjustment with this thing.
Is there a recommended space between the actual brake and the...
No, it kind of just
It
goes
doesn't
by
touch it?
feel at the brake lever. You'll know when you apply the brake if it is too loose or if it's too tight.
Okay.
So see, what we have going on here is the rim needs to be moved this way a little bit. That's another thing. You'll never be able to adjust this type of a brake properly if the wheel isn't perfectly straight.
Now, how do you know if to go left or right? With
Okay.
the spoke adjuster.
If you looked at the wheel in terms of a cross section,
Yeah.
it's basically like a triangle. You have there's your base of the triangle and you have two sides.
Okay.
So if you want to pull it this way, then you work on this side of the triangle, and vice versa. So in this case, I tighten this, and just turn these about a half of a turn each. And it's
Question, how do you know which one to turn based on how
so you can see how that brake is moving side to side?
Yes.
That's because it's making contact with the rim, and the rim isn't
I see.
straight. You know, so like here, you can see it's pushing on this side.
Correct.
So the rim needs to be pulled that way. So we need to apply or increase the tension on this side of the wheel in this specific area.
Okay.
And the way you achieve that is by tightening the spokes in that immediate area. And I can just feel by turning these that they're not very tight.
Okay.
So usually just do 2 at a time, maybe a half a turn, 3/4 of a turn each. Now this side needs to be pulled over. As you go around the wheel, that's when you notice kind of go in steps.
And you can buy these at any place in particular, or you have to go to a bike store?
This is pretty much all bike specific stuff, yeah.
Okay. And that's the universal?
I don't think this is universal. I've had this for years and years. I don't know if this style is even available. This is my personal favorite, but Park, that brand there, they make their own style, which is probably the most popular. But I happen to like these better.
The spoke wrench.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Park versions come, because there's different sizes of these as well,
Right.
depending on the bike. This is perhaps the most common size that you'll find.
Oops, sorry. Okay. Now, what causes a bike to go out of alignment like this? Is it the rider, or is it
Well-
something that happens every so often?
It can be caused by, I guess, a number of different things.
Is it typical?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It can depend on the design of the wheel, or the materials it's made out of, because like the more expensive wheels and so on are, they're going to be more sturdy, generally speaking. That's not always the case. Also, if the rider, let's say he hits a big pothole
Okay.
in the road, or if he's involved in a crash where it would place some abnormal stress on the wheel, that could cause it.
Does one to assume that if one half is out of alignment, then the front wheel will be the same, or?
No, not
Not really,
necessarily.
okay.
No. Now, it's more common for the back wheels to be like this because they support more of the weight of the rider,
Okay.
and they definitely have to deal with more of the abuse. Okay, so you can set that down now. Adjust this one a little bit further.
So once you get this in place, it's just not adjusting the brakes, not the
Well,
cable?
no, we might not be done here either.
Okay.
I was just looking at to see how it contacts the rim. It looks like the front of it's contacting a little bit before the back, which is, it's not really too much of a problem, but
Okay.
it's not an ideal situation. Okay, these screws here adjust how much tension is applied to each arm,
Oh,
so you can
okay.
kind of balance them out by increasing or decreasing the tension by if one side is contacting more than the other, because like
Mhm.
see, you want both of them to contact to the rim around the same time, and both arms to move equally,
Okay.
which it looks like it's doing pretty well.
A lot
See,
better.
there you go. Now the wheel isn't perfect, as you can see,
Yeah, but it's a lot better than
but it's
before.
better than what it was.
Yeah.
Now that the brake is, that's a pretty good adjustment. So what I'll do now is just cut about 2 to 3 inches off,
Okay.
and I don't have a cap.
I do.
You do?
Yes. I'm assuming when you say cap, you're talking about
There's
these
little tiny Yes, that's them, yeah.
Okay, so this
Okay,
is what you
wonderful. That's what I need, because that prevents it from unraveling. So all you do now is just put one of these on and take the sharp end of the pliers and just kind of squeeze it on there, crimp it on there. Whoop. Just kind of squeeze it on, that way it won't fall off.
Okay.
And then I usually tuck these somewhere like that, just so when he
Yeah.
pedals the bike, his ankle doesn't constantly hit that.
Okay.
And so that's not going to get unraveled or anything like that. That's good.
Okay. And that's the rear brake.
Yeah.
Replacing the cable and adjustment.
Yeah, so these you can just, this is the old one we took off, and this is the excess of the new one, which is useless now, so that's just excess that you
Okay.
throw in the trash. And we'll basically do the same thing for the front.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, you sure made it look easier than typical
So you have to do the front now?
working.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So we're going to just replace, we can replace, I see you got one with the housing.
Yes.
Or we could just use this inner wire on the front if you wanted to.
Okay.
Because the housing on the front here it's not in bad condition.
All right, so we'll use the inner
Yes.
wire then.
And that way we wouldn't even have to open that one.
Okay.
This is trash also.
I'll take that. Okay, so.
You want to try the front one?
Yes, could I try,
Go
maybe you could
for it.
talk me through it, perhaps?
Okay.
Okay.
I won't
So-
say anything unless I see you make a
All
mistake.
right, so you said first to take off the extra.
Cut that off,
Okay.
and that goes in the garbage.
All right, I'll put it in here for now. Now the next thing is you said to maybe start from this end, which will be right here. And if I'm not mistaken, you said to line up the holes, and then also to the.
Yes, but before you get to that point, you need to release the tension.
Okay,
It's under
so
here.
we got to take this off then.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we take this off to
There
release
you
the
go.
tension. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the next thing is.
Pull that rubber sleeve off.
Rubber sleeve
Don't
first.
stab your fingers.
Okay, that has happened before.
Okay.
I'll put it here, and this kind of pretty much
You
comes
just
out.
Pull that all apart.
Okay. Now you recommend doing this next?
You can do that next, yes.
Okay, so just to make sure I don't leave. Go ahead.
Don't lose those little pieces. Unless you're
Okay.
going to replace this too. If you're going to replace this elbow, this tube,
Uh-huh.
then you can go ahead and throw
And in
that
this
away
case,
as well.
I'm not. So I'll save this. Plus, he said this is very
Yeah,
important
save
right here.
that little plastic
What I've
piece.
learned so far. So now,
And you can go ahead and pull the housing all the way off
Okay.
at this point if you want to.
okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
And
That's
save that.
basically
And
what
then
I've
you
been
now
taught.
remove the cable.
And
from
if
the-
I'm not mistaken, you said there's a groove
Mhm.
at the bottom. It's a matter of lining up. Oh, I see it. Everything must be lined up. And this should fall out.
There you go.
I learned something.
Perfect. Perfect.
Now,
Perfect.
this is okay. This doesn't
Yeah,
come out right.
You can leave that there.
So now this, we'll dispose of this.
It's going to dispose of.
And then the
Now
next.
your new cable is just the reverse of.
Okay, which will be this. So we'll try this one, since as you said, the housing looks pretty good. On the other one, make sure I don't lose other parts in the process. I also know you told me to save one of these caps, whatever,
Yes.
that's a better word. So I'll put this here, which will come handy at the end. Seal this to do it now. You said it's not necessarily a measure
No.
the broken cable.
No.
So I'll throw that out there for now.
In most cases, that's or nearly all cases, you wouldn't want to
Okay.
compare the length of the new one to the old one.
So, and then you said to the two types.
Yes.
One is for the racing bike.
Yes.
And this is normally the one.
That's
for
pretty
the-
much for every other kind of bike.
So this is, I can get rid of this.
You're just going to cut off that end that you don't want and just
Okay.
discard it.
Right, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it
make a
doesn't matter
difference.
where because you have
Okay.
plenty to deal with.
So, as I'm going, I'll clean up. All right, so this is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
So you recommend now I start putting the housing back on, or should I go ahead and?
I would put it doesn't really matter, but
Just
out
for
of
you?
habit, I always install the end of the cable into the lever first.
That's why you're the expert, and I'm learning. So it's just the opposite. We're now You said
Make sure it's the round end is seated into the receptacle,
Okay.
and then feed the cable back through that slot.
Okay, and
Yeah.
twist this
Yeah.
part?
You can turn it, yeah, that's fine.
Turn it?
That's
Okay.
fine, yeah.
All right.
And now,
You recommend now
you can put a small dab of grease. I mean,
This
that's
and
not
that.
critical, but
Nope, but
it does help things work a little bit better.
Alrighty.
Just coat the cable with the grease.
And again, the reason for this is because of the...
It just helps everything move more smoothly, and it
Okay.
helps improve the operation of the whole.
All the way, or just this is enough right here?
That's
for now?
fine.
That's fine, okay. Okay, we'll do that then. And what type of grease is this? Is regular?
It's just regular bearing grease.
Okay.
I got that at Walmart, I think.
Alright, so now that's
Now-
done.
Yeah, now you're gonna feed the cable through the piece of the housing.
Starting with this one,
Yes.
correct? And then knowing, does it, just to make sure then, they both are the same?
It doesn't matter which end, they're both the same,
Okay.
yeah.
So start with this end
Mhm.
here.
You feed that all the way through,
Okay.
and just pull it all the way through so the housing gets anchored up into that spot.
Right here?
Right,
And that's it?
that's it.
Okay.
And next time the tube, the elbow piece.
This piece?
is gonna go on, yes.
Okay, starting with this.
It
right
goes
here,
through the
correct?
large end.
Oh, this is, you mean this right here,
Yeah.
correct? So this goes in here
Yes.
first.
And feed that all the way through.
Now, you did say something with twisted, counterclockwise,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, if you look at the cable itself, it's wound as a spiral.
I see.
It's individual strands.
Okay.
So, but now that you've got it all the way through, that's fine. That's the only reason you want to twist it, is so it doesn't get unraveled.
Great suggestion. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, that-
You want to work against the spiral, basically, or rotate it against the spiral.
Okay, now once I'm done with this,
Pull that all the way through and make sure everything is seated.
got it. So everything has to be locked.
Yes.
So like
okay,
this?
that's it. And now you have the little bullet-shaped end
Okay.
that goes over the small end of that.
And the bullet shape, and you're talking about this?
No.
This?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I forgot.
And the
which
small
one.
end faces outward.
So it goes in this way?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Small end faces outward.
Yes.
So far, so good, based on the great instructions you gave me
Make
earlier.
sure everything's
So
seated.
this goes in like
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
All right.
And now you're gonna make sure that the brake pads are aligned properly with the rims. Here's a good example.
Okay.
This one has not been aligned. See how its
lows.
alignment is with the rim?
Yes.
It's hardly making contact.
Correct.
And here's what happens. You've got this. These things should wear smoothly and evenly, but you see,
Yes.
like this one is wearing the way it should, but look at this one.
It
It's
is
not.
high. It is
That's
high.
because it's been making contact
Mostly with the,
with the rim.
With the rim.
So you want to correct that, and at some point, this is something that you would even consider replacing.
Eventually.
Yes.
Okay. Is there possible you can flip this around, or it doesn't make a difference?
No, because these are curved slightly to match the radius or the curvature of the rim.
Okay, so
So they're never straight.
okay.
They're never perfectly straight.
So at this point, I need an Allen wrench.
Yes.
Okay. and
Which,
I found it.
there it is.
And then I guess I'm assuming it will be this one.
5 millimeter, yeah.
5 millimeters, which is I guess looks like 5. Sorry, 5 is. Oh, sorry. I
Yeah,
think
there you
so
go.
too. So now I need to drop this down up, bring it up, and then test it.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's aligned properly, and also make sure it doesn't make contact with the tire either.
Okay. How is that? Should I drop it?
Maybe down a little bit. Because what happens is if these make contact with the tire,
Yeah.
it's going to wear
Ah.
a nice groove in the tire itself.
All right.
And trust me, the tire is going to wear through before that will.
Okay.
And the next thing you know is you have a big rip and even a blowout in the tire, and you
Oh,
have
darn.
to replace the tire.
See,
too.
that's a good,
yeah.
especially going to something like, move it up a little bit more. Assuming this is, oh, sorry. Move it down a little bit, you think? Okay, what's the technique for doing this?
Just kind of got to get it in position and hold that position,
Okay, oh, I see.
and then tighten the bolt.
How's that?
That looks good. Yeah. So now one way you can hold it is to apply some pressure
Ah,
to hold that against the rim, and just kind of double check it and make sure it's aligned. And also, again, real important not to make contact with the tire itself.
okay,
And if everything looks good, then tighten it up.
okay. Sometimes I notice that one end can be higher than the other.
Yeah.
Is that okay in your opinion, or should I?
It's actually tilted a little bit.
Yeah.
It could turn towards the front somewhat.
Okay, so we'll go back in here and get it right. What do you think about that? Still tilts it a little bit, in your opinion?
Okay, tighten it up now.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Looks good.
That looks good.
Yeah.
A lot better than before.
Let
huh?
it go. Let it
Yeah,
go.
will do.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, and then this side you said.
That side looked good to begin with. To start
Okay.
with, yeah.
That's good to know. Now, once that's done, I guess this is next.
Okay. Now, yeah. Before you even do that, you can go ahead and put that on.
And
I
this.
think the little piece was about to fall off too.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. We'll fix
That needs to stay on.
With this going out first.
Right. And then put the rubber boot on afterward.
Does it make a difference which end first?
Yeah,
or-
it's got a large end and a small end. The large end should go on first.
Like this.
Yes,
I
the
see.
closed end faces outward.
Okay.
There you go.
Just the little things you take for granted.
Yeah.
That you need to get right. Okay, so
And
how does
now-
that look? This goes in here?
This eventually will go on here, but not yet.
Okay.
So pull that back, pull this piece back a little
Ah,
bit, and then
okay.
go ahead and anchor this onto that part where it needs to be.
Is it?
That should flip around. Like so.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, so it goes in, flips
Yes,
around.
it goes through that groove and it seats in that round opening.
Now, you were
There
saying,
you
is
go.
that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I learned that earlier.
Now, you're going to feed the wire
Okay.
through the hole in the back of that. This is called the anchor bolt. There's a small hole in there, and the wire is going to feed all the way through there.
Okay. Is it supposed to be stiff, like when that happens, so that cut it
No,
off?
see what happened? That's why. Remember when I told you the cable is stranded? And
Yes.
it's spiraled? See, you just caught one of the strands.
Ah,
So you have to avoid doing that. In this case, you can just cut that off cleanly
okay. Start over.
and start over. Yeah.
Okay, ka-ching.
Yeah.
So then,
And feed that through the hole.
let's loosen this up a little bit more. Bring it through the hole.
Yeah.
Okay, all the way.
Pull it all the way through now.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
And now just pull everything together. And this is going to be kind
Now,
of by.
should I hold it like this?
Yes. What you can do
against
is.
against the rim?
You can.
I can.
You
Okay.
can. Just kind of go by feel, pull it together, and then tighten the bolt. Tighten the nut. And you
Okay.
want to tighten it securely with the wrench, because the next thing we'll do is test it.
Should I all the way or just enough for now?
That might
Yeah.
be good for now, yeah.
Okay. Now, if this is already rubbing, I see, because this will help to, with this, keep the
Yeah.
space.
Now what you want to do is make sure the wheel rotates freely
Okay.
when the brake is not applied.
Like, it's
It's
not.
got a little bit of drag. And also the next thing too is grab a handful of brake, as we call it. Like if you're going to do a panic stop,
Okay.
make sure that if this was too loose, this is where the cable would
Come
slip.
out.
So that's why this needs to be secure. So this is what we call a panic stop. You can be
Okay.
able to, feel the brake being applied, and then now let's let it go.
Okay.
Now the wheel itself might be able to be adjusted a little bit,
Okay.
but grab the brake, grab it. See, it's actually, the brake is functioning good, so at this point, because it's not rotating freely, then we need to do something real quick with the wheel again.
And
You
you
adjust
mentioned
the
about
spoke.
the
That's where this
spoke.
comes in, yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and hold the front of the bike up.
Okay. And again, you're looking for
Yeah,
what
that-
size jam? It's gripping.
These are a little bit tighter.
Look at that.
It's not there yet.
Still not
A
Seems
little
a
bit
little
better,
bit
but-
looser.
Mhm. And again, you're picking the ones based on when you,
Yeah, based
Rotate
on
the tire.
where it has the drag and where it needs to be pulled over from. Better, but a bit better still.
so you'll want to try to adjust the spokes first before you actually try to bring out.
Well, that would be the ideal thing to do.
Okay. You're right.
See the shops.
Look at
If you
that.
bring a wheel into a bike shop to have it straightened like this, they have
Like a machine?
not only a machine, but they have a tool that sits on a workbench, and what they'll do is they'll actually take the wheel off of the bike
Ah,
and prop it up on this stand. It's called a truing stand, and it supports the wheel by the axle, just like it would if it was installed on the bike, but it actually has gauges on it.
oh, so
I
it's
mean,
for
you
alignment.
can. It's like an alignment gauge. You can read down to like a fraction of a millimeter how straight and how accurate that wheel is, and that's how the shops do it.
Yeah.
They'll put a wheel
Take it
in,
off.
take it off the bike, put it in this jig, and they'll go around the wheel. Sometimes every spoke at a time. Maybe they'll have to go around it 2-3 times, and they'll turn each one just a minute bit
Get it right.
until you get it
100%.
absolutely 100% perfectly straight.
Okay.
So when you spin that wheel, you don't see any deflection at all. It's straight as an
Straight
arrow.
as an arrow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then sometimes you get wheels in that have been damaged, maybe from a crash or something, and in that case, there's only so much you can do. You might be able to get it acceptable, but it might never be perfect, in which case you either tell a customer that or give them the option to just buy a new one.
Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's like if you have a car that's been damaged in an accident, it may be fixable or it may be totaled.
Uh-huh.
You know, the wheels are kind of the same idea.
You know, it's amazing that, again, the little things that single moms and working dads
Yeah.
and working moms take for granted.
So you're
I mean, this
basically
is
done here,
fantastic.
minus just trimming